Good morning, dears. Today we are going to discuss about the differential diagnosis and diagnosis of chronic pancreatitis. As you know, the most common symptom of or most classical symptom of either acute or chronic pancreatitis is pain, and the location of pain is upper abdomen or in the epigastrium or in the right or left upper quadrant of abdomen. So in the same area, so many disorders can give the same symptoms. So we have to differentiate the pain of chronic pancreatitis, especially with peptic ulcer disorders, say gastric ulcer and duodenal ulcer pains. Then biliary tract disorder like cholecystitis or cholelithiasis. Then with irritable bowel syndrome and autoimmune disorders. It is also having the same set of symptoms. Then renal calculi. It will also give the symptom of abdominal pain with all symptoms, most of the symptoms. Because of the intensity of the pain, the patient thinks that it may be a case of a heart attack. That means pain of myocardial infarction. That means heart attack. So in all conditions, you can see some similarity of sensation, location, even modalities. So it is very, very difficult to diagnose a case of chronic pancreatitis, especially in the absence of other symptoms. Only with the pain, we cannot pinpoint the status. So, to diagnose the condition, first of all, we have to do the pancreatic function test, like that liver function test. One of the main important pancreatic enzyme is serum amylase and lipase. So in condition of acute or chronic pancreatitis, you can see elevated levels of serum amylase and lipase. Along with that, other enzymes, especially enzymes of liver, say SGOT and SGPT. If there are any edema or obstruction of the biliary tract, in case of cholecystitis or cholelithiasis, evaluation of serum alkaline phosphatase plays great important role. Then with the evaluation of bilirubin itself to exclude any or to include any obstructive pathology. So liver function test and pancreatic function test plays great important role. And next about the stool examination. As you know, the most common or presentable symptom of a patient is oily, fatty, frothy, bulky, offensive stool. You know that it is because of high amount of fat in the stools. That means fat is not get digested or absorbed or utilized by our body. So what you eat, the same will excrete out. So naturally, the fecal fat analysis plays great important role in diagnosis of exocrine, analyze the exocrine insufficiency of chronic pancreatitis. Usually the fecal fat is less than 7 grams per day of 24 hours. But in case of chronic pancreatitis, it will be very high. Then to study the stage of pathology, CT or MRI is very essential. By doing the CT and MRI, you can study the status of pancreas. In some other cases, endoscopic ultrasound study gives a clue regarding whether there are any cyst or calculi or calcifications or any tumors, etc. can be studied by using endoscopic ultrasound method. Tumor marker like CA99 plays great important role in the diagnosis. Only by checking the CA99 will not sharpen the diagnosis, because the elevation of CA99 can be seen in acute pancreatitis or acute infection of pancreas. The same can be seen in cystic fibrosis or some other pathology. So, only by checking the tumor marker like CA99, it is not advisable. That means you have to correlate the symptom of your patient with other clinical findings. Along with that, CA99 plays great important role, and you can study the prognosis, or you can follow up the case with evaluating with the CA99. Next, about the tissue diagnosis. That means by doing FNA, it is very, very rarely needed. And to evaluate the autoimmune pancreatitis, IgG4 can be analyzed. Then in chronic pancreatitis, the serum trypsinogen level will be usually low. So by doing hematological examinations, then sonological examination, especially endoscopic ultrasound analysis, then by CT and MRI, then by doing fecal fat test, you can diagnose the case. Thank you.